Good morning. There was once a great and powerful CEO. He had grown a huge global empire, and the time had finally come for him to retire. So he began to look around for a successor. Now, one afternoon, he called his 3 top executives to his office. Andy was the director of marketing, Sarah was his human resources director, and Paul, his newly appointed director of public relations. The aging industrialist smiled at his 3 best brains and said, "I will retire in 2 months' time, and one of you 3 will replace me as CEO of my empire. To help me choose, I have a test for you." And he handed each of them a small flower pot with a simple instruction. "Come back here in 2 months' time and let me see which of you will have the most impressive, healthiest looking, best tended plant." Obviously, they were all very baffled by their leader's strange directive, but none of them was more baffled than young Paul. He was new to the organization and had still not quite recovered from the fact that he was even being considered for what was arguably the biggest honor in the corporate world. But, like he always did with every task he was assigned, the young PR director immediately gave the problem his full attention. He took the pot home, placed it on a windowsill where it would catch the longest stretch of sunlight every day, and started to water it religiously every evening after work. He would first stop by the window, check on his plant to see whether it had germinated, and then for days he would do this, but nothing grew out of the soil. Days turned into weeks, and still nothing grew. Paul started to get very worried. What could he possibly be doing wrong? To make things worse, Andy and Sarah's plants were coming along quite well. They had kept their pots in the office, and every time Paul stopped by to see them, they would be fussing and preening over their little green plants. Soon, 2 months passed, and the appointed day arrived. Paul didn't sleep a wink the night before. He couldn't possibly show up with a flower pot full of nothing but dirt. In the end, though, he decided to just go and face the music. If nothing at all, he would learn why his seed failed to germinate, and he would know what to do next time. On their way up in the elevator to the CEO's office, Andy and Sarah took one look at Paul's empty pot and burst out laughing. Paul tried to block out their ridicule by guessing which of his colleagues' 2 plants would emerge the winner. Andy's was taller than Sarah's, but Sarah's had more leaves than Andy's. It would be a tough call. When they walked into their boss's office, he took one look at the 3 pots and said, "Congratulations, Paul, you're the new CEO. As for you 2, please explain how you got such wonderful plants from the dead seeds I gave you." My dear friend, I guess the moral here is simple. Honesty is everything. Our leaders are under immense pressure to fulfill the massive promises they made to win our votes. They don't want to come before us with empty hands when they promised us milk and honey. They don't want to tell us the coffers are bare when they promised us prosperity. Sometimes the temptation to polish glass and call it a diamond can be too strong to resist because nobody wants to be seen as a disappointment. But the truth is that we chose you to lead us because we believed in you. If you take our faith in you and repay it with fudged figures and creative accounting, telling us we are floating when we are sinking, that is when you really disappoint us, because the truth will always come out. And then you'll have nobody else to blame but yourselves. And for those of you who are in opposition, we know you already. You already let us down. So don't take delight in the struggles of your successors. Remember, as the ordinary Ghanaian struggles under these new pressures, we are watching the smiles on your faces. We are taking judicious notice of your jubilation and saying to ourselves, "Oh, so our suffering makes you happy, eh? You are glad times are hard, eh? Perhaps that's why you made us suffer under your administration too." Okay, elections will come again. Come and ask for our vote and see what happens. You know, Ghana is ours. It belongs to all of us. We all feel the effects of our problems in equal measure, and so we must all contribute equally to overcoming them. But how can we overcome our problems together if we don't even agree on what our problems are? We can come out of this trough and resume our place at the peak, but step 1 must be honesty and transparency. Let us know the size of the farm so we know how to share the weeding. That's all. My name is Kojo Youngson and I'm ready to help. Just tell me honestly what the problem is.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapita Sibili. In our first story, 263 people lost their lives in road crashes in the month of April. And that's according to latest statistics released by the Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service. The figure represents a marginal increase in the number of deaths each month since the beginning of the year and comes despite an ongoing campaign to make the country's roads a lot safer. It brings to 1,034 the number of fatalities on the road between January and April this year. Meanwhile, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has recounted how his seatbelt saved his life not once but 3 times in what he describes as a near-fatal accident. The Speaker observed that though he was in a high-end 4-wheel drive, none of the vehicles could be recovered after the accident. He also vowed to ensure that Parliament drafts a proposal to holistically deal with the carnage on the country's roads. He made the remarks after the leadership of JoyNews visited him in his office to officially present copies of the JoyNews documentary, Crushed.
I have had a number of near-fatal accidents. Members of Parliament are always on the move. And those of us who are far off from the seat of government, Accra, usually have to overstretch our nerves and our sights to try to get to your destination before dusk. And so I had about 3 near-fatal accidents, but survived them just because I obeyed one of the guiding rules of a passenger, putting on the passenger belt. Because on the 3 occasions, even though I was using Land Cruisers, none of them could be recovered.
President of the National House of Chiefs has hit back at critics of government's decision to destroy equipment used in illegal mining operations in forests and river bodies. Oji Ahoho Yao Gebi II describes the confiscation of mining equipment as timely and prudent. He made the call when Chief Executive of the Forest Commission, John Alute, paid a courtesy call at his palace. Himtera reports.
The team from the Forestry Commission has been in the region to ascertain compliance with government's ban on mining in forest reserves and water bodies. Oji Ahoho Gebi, the paramount chief of Seri Anwiaso, promised the support of the National House of Chiefs in the fight against illegal mining. He wants all attention focused on the sustainable fight against illegal mining.
We should all come together and drive these people from the forest and river bodies. Government has been criticized for burning mining equipment in the forest. Some suggest the equipment could be used for the benefit of the country. I disagree with these criticisms. Do you remember the story of the 400 seized excavators? How would we account for many if we cannot even account for those few ones that were seized? Assuming Oji Ahoho hires someone's excavator for illegal activity, I would be held liable instead of the state, simply because I have no legal backing. No dealer would approve of the use of his equipment in illegality. I saw several excavators on the Nyinahini Bibiani stretch. The ban is already yielding positive results. You should intensify the fight because you have our support.
Oji Ahoho Gebi also expects chiefs to be involved in the allocation of mining lease and the enforcement of laws against illegal mining in the future. He wants traditional leaders involved in illegal mining named and shamed.
Nananum, who are the owners of the land, including the Adikrofo, must also be involved in the grant of the licenses so that we'll be able to identify which company, which person is working in Area A or Area B. Fourthly, Nananum in that vein should also be part of the enforcement group. So our laws on enforcement on the grant of this should all be reviewed to involve Nananum.
Chief Executive of Forestry Commission, John Alote, commended Ojiaho Ojibi for his support in the preservation of forest resources.
For any the support or the program running at this point to make sure that we remove all the machines, excavators, dozers, and other structures of forest more for the advisor or the and the support for the ministry to be able to embark on that program. And as you say, at the Council of State meeting, on promising, say for the Green Ghana program, or best supply a large quantity of seedlings for free. How the man in Crawford or sign advising how to go about the whole program successful.
From Sehui Anyaso in the Western North region for JoyNews, Ohimi Interior reporting.
Now, ballot boxes play a crucial role in all elections, and due to the competitive nature of elections, ballot boxes are placed in an open space to allow all persons to see them. Knowing the number of ballot papers in the box by mere observation is impossible. However, ballot boxes and counting persons casting their votes is expensive and tiresome. Tallying the number of voters who cast their vote on a sheet of paper and comparing the results with all other political party agents and the EC brings chaos and confusion, especially when their tallies don't match. Fortunately, students of Obuasi Senior High Technical School have come up with a smart ballot box to do away with the difficulty. Lava Frame's Kwesi Deborah has been speaking with the students.
My name is Vielo Kofi George.
I'm Osei here. The smart ballot box is made to count the number of ballot papers in the ballot box, to display it to the public, and to give the indication of the person casting the vote, and also prevent one person from voting twice or more.
The components used are Arduino ultrasonic sensor, relay, PVC pipes, screen, which is LCD, and LED, which is light.
When a person gets closer to the ballot box, the system becomes active and a red light is shown that the system is active. When a person drops the ballot paper into the slot, the system gets the ballot paper into the ballot box and count it as one and display it on the screen. This project has numerous benefits, which include reducing the cost of hiring many polling agents, eliminating the act of continuous monitoring the ballot box, eliminating the rigorous method of tallying person casting their votes, avoiding one person voting twice or more without detecting instantly, giving an indication to the audience that a person has cast his or her vote. The cost of producing it is less. It can increase the voter turnout since voters would like to experience a new method of voting that is made by Ghanaian students.
So my name is Solomon Incho and I represent this team. We've come up with this smart ballot box, which we did some time ago. The intention is to prevent some of the misunderstandings that we have in elections. So this particular ballot box is able to prevent one person from voting 2 times, and then also display the total number of ballot papers we have in the box on a screen for public to view. Now, when we started this, it was very small, and we came up with this. Now, what you see here is a rolling part. The rolling part takes the paper from the individual and then drops it into the box. When we started, we're not having the rolling side, we're having only the box. So realize that one person can drop the paper and then remove it, and the counting will be done. So we decided to come up with this part so that the moment you put in the paper, you can't remove it again. It will take it from you and then drop it in it. Now in the future, we want to make this part very small, and then also it's running on a 10,000 milliampere rechargeable battery, which can last for I think 17 to 18 hours. I want to make it more energy friendly so that it can run up to maybe 24 hours a day, since elections sometimes can go over 2 days or 3 days.
Defending champions Bersek Legon, Achimota School, Chemu SHS, and Adogono Senior High School have qualified for the finals of the Greater Accra Regional Championship of the National Science and Maths Quiz. There were heated contests at the Accra College of Education as the schools battled to determine the best in the region. 3 of the 4 contests had to be decided by a tiebreaker question. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
9 schools qualified from the Greater Accra region on Monday and Tuesday for the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz scheduled for later this year. The regional championship, which started in 2019, is to offer schools the chance to compete with their local or regional rivals and also have a feel of the national championship. Whilst the main competition is a battle for the national bragging rights, the regional competition is a battle for the regional crown. After 4 rounds of heated contests, a tie-breaker question was what was needed to separate Achimota School and St. Thomas Aquinas, as the 2 schools had 39 points, with Our Lady of Mercy Senior High School trailing behind them.
This gives us a tie at the first place. And to determine who wins this contest and goes on for the finals of the championship, we need to break the tie. So what is going to happen is I'm going to read a question to the 2 schools, St. Thomas Aquinas and Achimota. The first school to ring their bell and give me the correct answer, the tie is broken, and that school is the winner. Find the current in a 150 millifarad capacitor when its potential difference is changing at the rate of 52 volts. Quickly, give me your answer.
It is 7.8 times 10 to the power minus 1 ampere.
That's not correct. Yes, Achimota. Yes, go ahead.
7.8 ampere.
That's correct.
Here is an Achimota School contestant.
Yeah, we knew it's our game. From the start we were winning, so I knew we win, even though they were, competing, but we still knew we win. There are no any school to compete with, and we hope to win the finals. But now they can't beat us.
St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah, we didn't lose hope. Yeah, so we continue.
What should we expect?
Oh, we are winning the finals.
We are winning it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Another tie-breaker question had to be used to separate Odogono and West Africa SHS. Odogono SHS answered the question correctly and qualified for Thursday's finals.
So between Odogono and West Africa, I'm going to ask you a question, and the first school to ring their bell and gives me the correct answer. If that happens, the tie is broken, and then they can qualify for the competition tomorrow. Find the cosine of the angle between a 4 Newton force and a 5. Yes.
0.
No. and a 5 Newton force, at which the magnitude of their resultant is 2 newtons. Yes, what?
60 degrees.
No. Another question. If f of x plus 3 equals 2x squared minus 4x plus 3, find the value of f of minus 2. Okay, yes, orthogonal. Release the bell and give me your answer.
73.
That is correct. The tie is broken.
There was no clear winner before the final round of contest involving Presec Legon Odogono SHS. Presec Legon emerged winners. Here are contestants and teachers of the school.
Presec Legon has qualified to the grand finale of the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz Championship. Odogono Senior High School gave them a good run for their money. At a point, Odogono SHS thought that we were going to win the contest. Let's find out from them what it was like.
Yeah, even at a point they actually took the lead, right? You know, we are slow starters. I mean, if you have followed Presec, usually first contest, Odogono has had a contest yesterday. They did very well. So, well, we saw them, we knew they did very well. But, of course, we knew we'd take it, right? So, I was not, I mean, we didn't panic. We knew we'd take it, especially as we get to the Raiders. I mean, my boys are fine with the Raiders. And so we knew we'd take it. So, we didn't really panic, you know, and it came true. Yeah, they took 3 Raiders, actually. So, we knew we'd make it, and we made it.
Okay, congrats.
It wasn't a nice feeling, but yeah, we kept our composure and we relied on Jehovah God, and yeah, he saw us through.
Okay, sure. What should we expect in the grand finale tomorrow, and then in the main competition sometime later this year?
You should expect a better performance, and we'll improve and then come and take the trophy.
The die is cast for Presec Legon, Achimota School, Odogono SHS and Chemu SHS. Which school will win the bragging rights as Greater Accra Region champions?
And that's how we end the AM News with me on Pisa CBD. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com.
And here we are, another beautiful morning. We're digging into the papers again.
Here we go again.
You want to do some singing? You want to do some a cappella? Let's do it.
Oh no, I think that one is a heartbreak. Like a, do you have a heartbreak or something? Then I could sing that to you.
Heartbreak, pa. What would be beyond to say heartbreak? Hey, you are wicked.
No, it's just the beats like that's coming into my head, but the song itself, the words you don't want it this morning.
I don't.
Here we go again. You keep telling me he is just a friend. You know? Yeah.
I would prefer something like I'll catch a grenade for you.
I couldn't even catch a fly for you, Ben. I will be lying.
Charlie, but this is, she said she will not even catch a fly for me. Hey!
Masa is the truth.
Do you remember that song? Don't Kugbunyo. Is that what you want to be? Oh, no, but don't believe her. Don't believe her.
Oh, sometimes we sing the songs just to feel good, you know? Yeah, just to get inspired. But it's not like we want to do what the song says.
It's kind of like, you know, when people are being buried. Oh, Bako, Charlie. In reality, find a no walk.
Anyway. They will not even visit your grave after. Yeah. Once they bury you, that's it.
But what has inspired your new look this morning? I see you've done something with your hair. You've done some stylistic. Let's do some stylistic analysis of your coif this morning. Your hair
it's just still my locks, still my sister locks. I braided it like you've braided your braid. It was just the cornrow was just my hair. And so yesterday I thought,
I know it was your hair that you had got into.
So
this time you've just let it down?
That's it. That's it. And it's a bit curly because of the braid. That's all. Still my simple hair.
I think I should lock my hair soon.
Good luck. Make sure you're not going to Achimota.
Oh, no. You would definitely not make it into that school.
No, I would not.
And you like fasting,
I'll stay in Zion
You
College.
like fasting too.
Charlie, the issues with the schools, and it just saddens me, where this whole Wigehe issue is going.
The church has also responded. Now, members of parliament are calling for some
I think
cool heads.
Yeah, but I think we should stop it. Stop and ask some very important questions. Because we know that the church is a significant player. The church owns the school. First of all, let's establish that. And so I think we should go back in terms...
It's a mission school. It was a school that was set up by a mission institution. But when you look at the mission institutions across the country, you'd realize that government, of course, they are subservient in a way to government, the ministry.
There's been some collaboration. But as I sit here, I don't know how much of a control the church has over their schools. And that's why I said, everybody cool down. Let's come back without emotions and let's ask some significant questions here. Because we have to solve a certain basic issues before we can build on them. Because that will determine how much of a control a church, for instance, has over a school.
I think it's a semi-autonomous setup that we have here. But the question is, what you're asking is a very important bit we ought to get into. Because look, like happened with Achimota, there was a directive. Well, there was the outcry initially. Then the ministry comes in, or the Ghana Education Service comes in with the directive, and the school says, we will not budge. Guess what? Later on, we have, the regulator or whatever, budging and saying, I've taken a step back, I've reviewed what I said, I'm not going that way again. So it's a tricky situation here, and maybe that may also be influencing what we are seeing now. Because if Achimota didn't budge, you ask yourself, why should Gehe budge? But
the issues are not the same.
No, of
course.
The
issues are not the same. And the school, to be fair, the school has insisted that this was not a religious decision that goes against a specific group. Yeah. So for me, I just want to understand how much control the church has over the school and what decisions they can make and not make. Of course, we know that the Ghana Education Service, the Ministry of Education, is largely in charge of the teaching aspect of it because the teachers are being paid by the states. But there is some collaboration and we've got to understand it properly.
What do you feel, though, finally, on this point that, there have been suggestions that, okay, you want the children to fast, fine, let them go ahead. But anything that happens to them, in fact, you, the parent, you must sign on to it. It's like having surgery. You must sign on to it and say, I want my child to fast or something. But if anything happens to them in the course of that, Ibio Wahala, we're washing our hands. How do you feel about that? Because I see that as well from different angles.
There's another question that I haven't quite answered. Because I could be fasting right now if I sit here with you, Ben. I could be fasting. When it's time for me to pray, I could pray without anybody knowing. So I want to understand if something unusual happened with this young lady in the school, or if there had to be some kind of communication that this is what I am personally, privately doing. Until I understand that, I can answer the question.
And that's the complication, because then how are you going to be able to pinpoint that it is the fasting or something that accounted for this? If there's a health emergency, for example, you see, it takes away some responsibility from the school, and at the same time, it allows the person to do what they want to do. I just think that, look, we should have some general agreement. But one thing is that I feel in our educational setup, some of these things, because they've never reared their heads, we've never really paid attention to them. I think we really need to sit down look at our educational policy once more and have something that fits. I think we're still very antiquated in some things. We need to review some of these.
I have a different view.
And
School has been in existence for so long, right? We've had lots of students with diverse backgrounds go through the school. This is not the first person who is not Christian, who is Muslim. How have they done it over the period? How have they survived?
There's always a first. The fact that something has been done over time does not mean...
No, you don't understand me. My point is that the Muslims who have been through the school, how did they survive it? What has been the culture? Do you understand? For me, these are all the basic things that I want to understand before I jump into it and I say, oh, Wigahead didn't do well, Wigahead did well, I support the PTA, I support the school, I support the church, or I support all the other groupings. Before I come into that conclusion, I need to understand how they've survived through this period.
Why I feel...
And I guess this is the time for the other Muslims who've been through the school to tell us
their stories,
whether or not they were fasting when they were in school and how they did it. Has this directive always been there? Things like that.
I feel we need something across the board, because we've also heard stories of people who attended Islamic schools, and some say, oh, I can even read out the Quran because I was at the time compelled to do X, Y, Z. I can do this and I can do that. Others would also say, I wasn't compelled to do that. So I think we need a level playing field. That's what I think we need. And that goes down to policy.
All right, let's jump into the newspapers, shall we? This is the segment where we review the newspapers. Hopefully we'll have some time to do my JoyOnline.com as well. So let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Here's what's on the front page. COVID-19 second doses arrive tomorrow. And how I wish we would not be talking about it. Like, let's take delivery and let's announce that it has come. Otherwise, when you say tomorrow and the thing doesn't come tomorrow and we have to come back, and then now, the reason has been given. There was some delays in the flight and that kind of thing, connection problems, and now we're taking delivery tomorrow. But
it's interesting.
I wish it had not come up.
This very morning, out of the blue, it just crossed my mind, because for me, even I've entered the third phase now. So March, April, I should have got it in April. That didn't happen. May, we've entered the first phase because I got it on March the 3rd.
Okay.
Today.
So this is what, your 10th week or what?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
just about
between 8 and 12, so you still roughly have some 2 weeks.
So what we were told, even after the pushback, I should be getting it at around this time. So this morning I woke up, and as I was getting ready to come here, it just hit me, hey, when am I getting my next
You will.
I mean, it just crossed my mind. So when I saw the story, I was like, okay.
You will. But it's just not good enough that we keep saying, oh, we were supposed to receive it on Tuesday. It was coming, it didn't come, but now we're given the Friday. Let's just hold on. When it comes, we'll announce that we've taken delivery.
I don't really know now whether I'm even going to get AstraZeneca, a second shot. Oh, look, there's no confirmation on that. Whether I'll get that or whether I'm going to start with a different, maybe Sputnik or something. I don't know.
I'm so surprised at my reaction. Like I said, you will. But I don't know. I have some.
Do you know something I don't?
I have some hope and confidence. I don't know where it's coming from. But I just know that you get it. You get it before the 12 weeks. And then the Wigahead Ramadan saga, Peace Council calls for cool heads. Free SHS policy not under stress, according to the Education Minister. Some people have said, well, you have about 6 vacation and reopening dates. That's like... I read a piece from a colleague who said, if you visited the loo 6 times, you should know that there's something wrong with you.
That's something. But I'll tell you what, our fish are stressed. The people are stressed. I don't think we need free SHS to also be stressed. Honestly, we don't need that.
All right, let's check out the center spread. Rural banks make giant strides. That's certainly some good news there. Ghana Life Insurance rolls out recapitalization plan. Institute to blacklist unethical bankers. So it's all about banks really in the center spread of the Daily Graphic. And then on the back page, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has stepped up effort to mobilize up to 2 million farmers into the planting for food and jobs. Construction works have started on 2 World Bank sponsored projects worth 1.53 million Ghana cedis at the Achimota Old Premier Market in the Eastern region. That story also features on the back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper.
All right, let's get into the Ghanaian Times now. To address worsening security at mining firms, Police Administration deploys 200-member crack team to provide security at large mining coys. So military, now police, getting into the fray. Minority leader condemns indiscriminate sale of state lands in Tamale. And then the information minister is still on his tour of 5 regions in the north to engage journalists. Armed robbers kill security man at Joje. That's on page 3, a little bit of that story. And suspected armed robbers have killed Kluche Jelu, a private security man at Petroland filling station located at Joje Camp near Seklekope in the Ketu North municipality of the Volta region. The deceased, believed to be in his late 60s, was found dead with his hands tied to the back at the top floor of an office building with stores containing building materials. And Mr. Wisdom Adoku, station manager of Petroland filling station and the hardware store, confirmed the story to the Ghana News Agency. Sad one there. But another story involving a 60-something-year-old. We've highlighted this, but it's back in the papers. Retired teacher in court for incest. I speak of Seth Kwejo Dese, 69, a retired teacher and father of 8 who allegedly abused his underage daughter for 2 years and later threw her onto the streets when she started resisting his sexual advances. And he was arraigned on Tuesday. She is 17 now, so you can imagine she was just about 15, 14 when this started. Well, guess what? Speaking of vaccinations, most vaccinated nation, Seychelles, sees COVID-19 spike. And the Seychelles, which has fully vaccinated over 60% of its population against COVID-19, so it's overtaken Israel, is bringing back restrictions amid a rise in cases. The archipelago of nearly 100,000 people recorded close to 500 new cases in the 3 days to 1st May and has about 1,000 active cases. Well, that's it there. When you go to the back page, James Cole Ward at 37 Military Hospital inaugurated, and Asantehene urges minister to tackle drainage challenges. That's it with the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
I will do the business newspaper, the Business and Financial Times. And on the front page, brace for tougher times as transport fares set to go up. Pressure mounts on government to further reduce fuel price. Calls for restructuring of tax build-up intensifies. That story is on page 2. It started with the fact that the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, is calling on government to, as a matter of urgency, block all loopholes at the ports. Okay, so this is not the headline necessarily. The one on brace for tougher times says that with the increasing cost of living and consistent dwindling of consumers' purchasing power, incomes of many citizens can only buy less of their usual consumption basket, a situation of the poor getting poorer in real terms and the middle class getting thinned out. So this is a reality check, if you like. Everything has gone up. I mean, once fuel goes up, there are some taxes that have also kicked in, the communication tax as well. So lots of things happening, and the situation getting
the 1% COVID-19 levy, NHIA.
Yeah.
And now there's, you recall what I mentioned yesterday. I mean, we just talk about them because the Communication and Digitalization Minister has been talking about that. It will be interesting to know what people think about that. If now, you know, a lot of people wouldn't make these trunk calls with normal credits, because I mean, it would go, if you were calling the US or Canada or the UK, you would try a WhatsApp call. But now if your WhatsApp call or your Facebook call or something were going to be taxed as well, what would that mean? Of course, on the other end, you also know that government needs taxes. Government runs on taxes. Without taxes, you can't have the roads, the hospitals, all the amenities you want. So I guess it's a balance, and we ought to really weigh them, what we want as a people.
Well, on the other hand, and this is back on the front page of the Business and Financial Times, the AGI is calling for government to block under invoicing and valuation loopholes at ports for locals to thrive. And then real estate dethrones ICT sector to become new driver of economy. Expect attribute to new players. Pandemic-induced demand. So after going through torrid times at the beginning of the pandemic year, which saw it contract for 2 consecutive quarters, the real estate sector has come out strongly this time, even unseating the information and communication sector to become the new drive of economic growth in the last quarter of 2020. And on that note, we have to bring you this breaking news. We're told that 5 people are feared dead in an accident on the Tema motorway. Eyewitness George Opoku-Boateng joins us from the scene. George, I'm not sure it's a very good morning, but what is this accident? Tell us about the accident. Give us a lot more. What happened?
Well, good morning to our listeners, and I think it's very sad Thursday morning at the Tema motorway, where a Sprinter bus with a registration number JR6117-20 involved in a very fatal accident at the motorway. This vehicle had loaded full passengers moving from Accra to Aflao, and have a maximum number of 25 passengers who were on board of that Sprinter bus. And then move on reaching to the Tapasi roundabout, nobody knows what happens to the driver. He decided to go on a very top speed, where even some of the passengers and the conductor or the maid complained that he should reduce the speed at which he is embarking on. But this driver gave a deaf ear and still embarked on a high top speed. When he got to the weighing bridge on the motorway, the car somersaulted. He had a busted tire at the back, and the car somersaulted. And my dear, it is very, very terrible and very horrible.
So were there other vehicles involved?
As at the moment, we had about almost 25 passengers on board of that car, and every of these passengers sustained series of injuries. And I had 4 people who also lost their lives. The most painful thing is a man who was traveling to Aflao with a wife, who were all involved in the accident, to wake up and ask for the whereabouts of my wife, and he could see the wife lifeless.
So, Judge, you seem to have gathered a lot of information even with the speed of this vehicle. Was it through interactions with anybody on board this vehicle that was involved in the accidents?
Yeah, I spoke to one passenger who injuries sustained was not all that serious. He had some bruises and some cuts on his head. He was even a very matured man. He might be in his late 60s. And I asked him what really happened, and he told me the driver started on a huge speed where they complained. Immediately he got to the motorway, he started speeding up, and they told him he should complain, but this driver did not. So before they could all realize, the car has busted its back tire and has somersaulted.
Okay. So, Judge, has the police been to the scene? Are the injured receiving some form of treatment? Have they been transported to the hospital? Do you know?
Yes. So far, so good. The victims have all been conveyed to the Tema General Hospital. The police are already here. The National Ambulance Service is already here. And the National Fire Service is also here, who are trying as much as possible to find out whether someone is still in the car or any other thing they need to find out.
Okay, great, George. Is this affecting traffic?
Very, 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 very well. The traffic is becoming very massive, because anyone who gets there will want to see exactly what is happening. And knowing very well, a car that was heading to Aflao could now turn and face back to Accra. That tells you how the whole thing happened. Okay, it's a very, very serious situation.
So do we have the police helping with the traffic direction?
So far, so good. I think the police Those the few that were here have reported the victims who engaged in the accident to the general hospital. They have the National Fire Service and the ambulance service also trying as much as possible to convey the few ones who sustained not that serious injuries.
Okay.
But the traffic as of now is actually moving gradually because I've seen a policeman trying to direct the traffic because if not, it's going to be something else this morning.
Okay. And so we say 5 people died on the spots. Is that it?
Yes. We have a minimum of 5 people who 4 was 5 for 4. I can confirm for 4. But for one who was in a very critical to do that, even I thought he was dead. He was also convicted. I don't know how it's going to be until there's a follow-up at the General Hospital to find out those who survive and those who died in addition to the already lost life.
Okay, George, we're grateful. But just before you go, at about what time did this incident happen?
It happened just about 30 minutes ago. If you look at my time now, it's almost
7 o'clock?
7 o'clock. So probably as early 6:20, 6:30, thereabouts. It just happened.
George, before you take leave of us, there's a question that was posed to you earlier. Was it just this vehicle that was involved? Were there other vehicles involved?
No.
Okay.
It was only the Sprinter that actually somersaulted. Because after busting its tire, it could not control because of the top speed. So it somersaulted and got into the middle where the street lights. You know, in the motorway, they put in some street lights.
Right.
So almost about, I think 2 street lights have been pulled down because of this, the magnitude and the speed of this car.
Well, sad incident there, but George, thank you so much for this update that you've brought us this morning. Very sad development there. Thank you, George. And I just wanted to be sure to find out whether maybe in veering off or somersaulting it had, you know, because sometimes these happen and then other cars are affected. Thankfully, not other cars involved, but this is very sad.
Yeah, this is absolutely tragic. To think that, and this was an eyewitness account. George, by the way, witnessed this scene, and he said he has had interactions with some persons on board the vehicle, and so the accounts that he gives is from what somebody on this vehicle had told him. And I just quickly wanted to, this week I was at the Kanishi Takrady station following this Oya app. That's been developed, and one of the purpose, even as we continue to talk about our Drive Safe campaign, is the fact that so what happens there is because they've taken a lot of details of the passengers on board. If a vehicle is speeding, if a driver is being careless on the road, they can quickly reach out to the station manager and complain in real time. You can either send a WhatsApp message, a text message, or you can give them a call, and then they can make an intervention right on the spot. Call the driver, or they can say, take your phone to the driver. I want to talk to the driver. Pack. We're getting messages from the people on board that you're being careless on the road, so we want to caution you. Right. And the
people were complaining per what George
but there was
tells
no
us.
External intervention. This is absolutely very sad. And we hope that it will not, the right thing will be done on the spot. Thankfully, George explains that there's presence of police, ambulance service. Even though it's causing heavy traffic, they are helping direct the traffic. We hope that it doesn't develop into something else.
Recently we were interacting with Cecil Gabra, and he spoke about car tires. There was a burst tire in this.
Yeah.
I would like to know what sort of tires were under this vehicle. You get it. It's very important. And I think as we talk about fixing the country and all of that, let's also fix our driving. Sometimes. And look at that.
This is sad. Painful.
Very sad.
And on that painful, tragic note, we have to end the review here with our breaking story of an accident on the Tema motorway, the Accra to Tema side of the motorway. So if you're now setting out and you're heading to Tema, you'll be using the motorway. You have to be cautious. There's been an accident recorded just between 6 and 7 a.m. this morning. Stay for sports.
For the first time in 9 years, Chelsea has made it to the UEFA Champions League final. For the first time in 13 years, it is an all-English final as the Blues will be facing the other blue side of Manchester. That's Manchester City in the grand finale in Istanbul. And we also have stories to share with you from the Ghana Olympic Committee and the Ghana Athletics Association. What is the issue in relation to the so-called money given to them to participate in the qualifiers for the Tokyo Olympic Games? And we'll also share with you boxing story. But first, let's do Ghana Athletics Association, because they have revealed that Jocelyn Anoche chose to train so that she could qualify for the Tokyo Olympic Games as an individual athlete, contrary to media reports that she was asked to finance her travel to join the team in Poland for the World Relays. Anoche had claimed that the athletics governing body in the country asked her to buy her flight ticket, the reason she decided to withdraw from the relays. But GAA, reacting for the first time since the reports emerged, say her claims are false.
It's never true that GAA asked her to buy tickets from US to Poland. It never happened, and it will never happen. Why would the GAA ask an athlete to buy a ticket to represent Ghana at such a high level? Was it the only athlete who was going to compete for Ghana? We had 14-man contingent, and tickets were issued by Sports Authority for all this contingent. No one was left behind. Anoche, at first, when we contacted her, whether she is available for the competition, her first concern was that her Ghanaian passport got expired, and she has sent the passport to the Washington, D.C. for an extension, no renewal, for an extension of 1 year. So we read that a couple of athletes have also got their passport expired. I still have some. The T20 passport is here. Straight T20 passport. So we went to the passport office. We asked them to bring their passports. Those whose passports have expired, including Anoche. They were Josephine Anoche, Deborah Akwa, Emmanuel Yabua, Sean Safu Entry, and Abubakar Mohammed. All of them had biometric passport except Sean. So they gave us their data pages of their passport. So me, Osai and Abate went to passport office, played with the directors. It took her 2 days. We were able to get the passport for them. When she got the passport, she never even told her that she had gotten the passport, but we knew the passport got her. A day or two later, she sent a text message to Prof. Andrew that she wants to qualify to the Olympic Games as an individual athlete in her individual event at the 100 meters or the 200. And the time for her to go to Silesia and come back, it will affect her training. And she and the coach decided that she should drop from this one and prepare and qualify for the Olympic Games. That was what he told us officially.
And still on athletics and issues related to Tokyo qualifiers, Ghana Olympic Committee President Ben Mensah said that his outfit gave the Ghana Athletics Association over $110,000 to support athletes' preparations and participation in the qualifiers. The athletics governing body described his claims as dissimulation, mendacious, and inflation of facts. Joy Sports has intercepted a document from Anoka directing it that they should distribute $9,000 to each member association, and that is the document on your screen. It was sent to the Ghana Olympic Committee last year, asking that they should give a specific number of federations some amount of money to help them prepare for the Olympic Games. And as you can see, the athletics were supposed to be given $5,500 for medical screening and investment. And there was also the other aspect, that is back to play program. That is where they were supposed to give them $2,500. While the last one is $1,000. And they said the requirements were that for each member association to be able to access this money, they should be able to provide timelines of their events so that they can get the money. And so it is not true that they were given $110,000 to prepare. $9,000 hit the account of the Ghana Athletics Association as of yesterday, 4 p.m. That's according to Joy Sports sources. Now let's move on and do a story that has to do with Ramadan. And Ramadan is just next week, Thursday. The Minister of Youth and Sports has eulogized a decision by members to put together a competition called the Ramadan Cup to bring communities together. He said the cup is designed to unite communities. According to him, using sports, especially football, to bring people together is a commendable initiative.
The annual football event, which started in 2015 with 8 participants, will now have 24 teams. The draw was conducted for the competition, and Kaolin vs Sabon Zongo was drawn as the opening match of the competition on Saturday, May 15. The Minister for Sports, Mustafa Yusuf, commended the organizers for initiating and sustaining such games to unite the various communities.
For the past 6 years, this event has been able to bring together the youth annually. And I want to commend the organizers of this program. Alhaji Tamim, more grace to your elbow. You've done so well with this. Every year you try and put all these Zongo communities across the country together to participate and compete in honor of our great Chief Imam, the National Chief Imam, Imam Nuhu Sharubtu. To move from 8 communities from the inaugural edition to 24 communities, including other regions worth commending as well. Community sport is very, very important because it does bring together the people, it brings unity, promote peace. It also promotes good health and also provide a platform to identify hidden talent from our communities.
Tournament coordinator Tamimu Isa says the increase in participating teams is as a result of growing interest in the competition by Zongo communities.
We are glad that it's back, and it's even back in a much bigger way. As we announced at the launch, we are increasing participating communities now from 16 to 24, and that's quite big to have 24 Zongo communities participating. It's quite big. From a humble beginning of 8 communities in 2015 to be able to move to 24 communities in a lot of regions outside Accra, having teams from Koforidia Zongo, Achimoda Zongo, Suhum Zongo, Hohoi Zongo. It's quite something that we are very happy about.
Medina is the current champions of the Ramadan Cup after winning the trophy in 2019. The competition was not held last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you for staying with us on the AM show. There's a lot that we're going to be digging into this morning as we host 2 members of parliament. Whatever your thoughts are, you can hit us on social media with the hashtag AM show. But joining the conversation, we have Dr. Stephen Amwa. He is member of parliament for Nshia, so he also is a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament as well as the Privileges Committee of Parliament. It's a national discussion we're having with some of our legislators this morning. We're also going to have join us Sam George, a member of parliament for Ningo Prampram. He's a member of the Communications Committee as well as the Public Accounts Committee. He'll be joining us shortly. Well, Doc, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's a great pleasure to have you join the conversation as always. Let me also say a very good morning to the man we call Jata.
It's a big pleasure having you.
How did you get your Jata? Is it?
Oh, that story is a different story. It's a branding story.
It's a branding story.
It was when I was going into the election. When I was going into the election, Honorable E.T. Mensa.
Oh, okay.
I got there and nobody knew who Sam George was or what Sam George even meant. Everybody knew who E.T. was. So there needed to be a brand. He was a brand. I needed to build a brand. So a brand was built. Built around what the competition at the time called my weaknesses. Which was he's too aggressive, he's too frontal, he's too energetic. So the lion represents all of that.
Are you a Jata still?
Are you still a Jata?
Still very much.
Still very much.
Very much. Lion born.
Okay, so we have doctor, and we also have elder.
And we have Jata
here. Doctor and elder. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Recently, given that high position in church, Paris Chapel. How did it make you feel?
It's a position I've been running away for almost 3 years. Because I like to do...
You've been running away from it for 3 years?
Yes. I mean, my bishop spoke to me about it 3 years ago. For me, I keep saying that I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person. There's a personal relationship and walk with God. And I do a lot of work in the church, but that's my personal work. I didn't want the attention of titles, and all of that that this has brought. But for me, it's a personal walk with God and what I continue to. I'm humbled anyway that I get the opportunity to serve God in a different capacity. But it's all about my service to God.
All right, so let's get into the matters we have on the chopping block. But before we do so, gentlemen, I crave your indulgence at this point. You're both lawmakers, and you make the law for the entirety of the country. But in this small space called the studio, I'm going to lay down the law. And the law is simple. Let's try to be decorous in our utterances. Let's no insulting, no jabs here and there. Let's just make it smooth, free-flowing, and enjoyable for our viewers. I had to mention this because sometimes some things escalate. Let's dig into the issues proper and let's share our thoughts. Deal?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Deal? Sure. Thank you very much. So let's start with fix the country. Fix the country. It's taken the nation by storm. Social media has been agog with it. There are so many issues that have come up, from roads to hospitals and everything in between. Let me start with your initial thoughts. Freddie Blay of the MPP says, well, this is an NDC creation. He says it's the NDC that is behind this fix the country move. Sam George, what do you think about that?
Let me say a very good morning to yourself, Sticker, and then our viewers. I'll be surprised that Freddie Blay would, the Honorable Freddie Blay will make those comments. I mean, however, people judge others by the standards that they hold themselves to. It's now clear to us that maybe the Ndumso move that we saw under the NDC was MPP sponsored, or the Let My Vote Count move that you saw was NPP sponsored. That's something that we had always held on to and the NPP had denied. But it's clear that based on the modus operandi of the NPP, today Freddie Blay thinks that this is an NDC creation. I can state without equivocation that the NDC has absolutely no hand in the Fix the Country.
But it works for you, doesn't it?
It doesn't work for us.
It feeds into your quote unquote agenda. It works for you.
It doesn't work for us. It works for Ghanaians. This is a Ghanaian thing. Look, when we want to put partisan spins on fixing our country, then it will go nowhere. I've heard the finance minister say that his 5-week stay in the US has opened his eyes to the need for health infrastructure. I'm shocked that he needed to take his near-death experience for him to realize what ordinary Ghanaians go through. Okay? Look, the COVID has exposed our weaknesses as a country. That irrespective of the great work that was done in that sector by the Mahama administration, but for that, we would have been in a worse situation than we are. But even with that, we still are not there yet. People had money and could fly to any part of the world to get medical care, but died because you couldn't board a plane. You get it? So we have real problems. And for me, any Ghanaian who has a problem with the hashtag Fix the Country must have a citizenship revoked.
Any Ghanaian who has a problem with the hashtag Fix the Country
must have
his or her citizenship
revoked. You are not fit to be a Ghanaian.
But let me ask you this. If someone has the right, per the Constitution, to follow that hashtag, Fix the Country, shouldn't someone also have the right to say, I don't think the country needs any fixing?
Opinions are like
others have said.
Opinions are like noses. However, what is the objective fact? What is the objective fact? The fact is simple, that our salaries have not been increased commensurately with the way petrol prices have gone up.
The facts are clear.
That's not a novel thing, is it?
No.
It's not a new thing, is it?
It is the quantum of increases this year alone. Today is the 6th of May. Next year alone, this is the 7th increase in petrol prices. How many times has salaries been increased? So these are real problems. And that's why I'm saying that, look, this must not have a partisan twist. Look, I agree with, I've heard people who have, the conveners, the organizers, those behind the Fix the Country, they've served notice to the NDC and said, do not seek to get involved in this. And I, as a member of the NDC...
They served notice to you?
I mean, they've said this publicly. Publicly, not reaching to us, but I mean, publicly, I've heard them say, NDC, this is not for you. This is about Ghana. And I agree with them. And I think my party must stay out of this. This is a Ghanaian movement. Look, we're sitting on a precipice as a country. We've been sitting on this precipice since 2006. In 2006, there was a national security report under President Kufuor with then Francis Poku, pointing to the fact that Ghana was about to fail as a state because of youth unemployment. That's why President Kufuor started the National Youth Employment Program. During my program at Kofi Annan, the security program, Ghana has all the markings of a failed state. The only reason we haven't failed remains a mystery to even the academics. Because you have a huge unemployment, you have a youth bulge, you have high utility rates, everything that will make a country fail exists. So we are sitting on the precipice. Now, if people are finding a way to ventilate, it's best you let them ventilate in the interest of the state and then see how you work with them to fix those problems. But to shut them up, and that's why I think that when the government apparatus started with the fix yourself, fix your attitude, it backfired big time.
And we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
But for me, I believe, and you see, they retraced their steps because look, you need to listen. I've been in government before, and when the people of this country make a demand, they have every right to make a demand.
Right.
I think, and I honestly believe that everybody across the political aisle, we must come together and say, look, this is real. The problems that these gentlemen are raising, are they germane?
Right.
Can we address them?
Okay.
But I mean, if you want to just play politics, and that's why I'm saying that this is apolitical, has nothing to do with the NDC, this are Ghanaians' demand, and I think that this should be the way we should go. I pray 2024, just 1 minute, I pray in 2024 the NDC comes to office. But I would expect to see an active citizenry that will hold us to account, hold us to better. That is what we need from the citizens. It must be
the hashtag is regenerated, assuming in 2024 your dreams come true. It
must be constructive.
Fix the country. You wouldn't be against it.
That is the reason why we are seeking office. The reason he sought office, he moved from Maslock into Parliament. The reason I moved from the office of the President into Parliament was because we thought we could fix the country. So any politician who is in office today, who has a problem with being told to fix the country, and I could read you, and maybe when I get my second bite, I'll just read a quote for you. Our job is to fix the country as politicians.
Your job is to fix the country. Dr. Amwa, now, this bit about fixing the country, does the country need fixing?
Thank you very much. My regards to our viewers this morning. I think, is there any country in the world which doesn't need fixing?
But I guess some more than others.
Exactly. So every country, even the developed economies, and the statement that fix the country is only confirming or underpinning our responsibility as a government. I don't see anything wrong with it. Fix the country. What's wrong with that? Is it not our responsibility?
But if there's nothing,
the first time?
If there's nothing wrong with it, we've had your colleague member of Parliament come through and say that people should fix themselves, for which he's had to apologize. We've had the PRO of the MPA come and say that.
Can I come in?
I mean,
you can't
so many things have been said.
But it's not the official position of the government. Let's all be honest. Sometimes, let's be honest and stop propaganda, because this rather generate politics.
What is the propaganda in there?
Well, let me also flow small. This is what generates. At least it's right you ask me. But if it's one-on-one, like you are doing one-on-one with me, how can I flow?
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. What I'm saying is that it is wrong for anybody to have made probably such statement. In the context, probably the person maybe had become misconstrued, whichever way. But let me ask you, is fixing this country not the responsibility of any government? Let's face it. Yes, there is hardship. But I don't think the hardship is worse than under NDC. That day, one day, the way my brother is talking. The hardship is never, but there's hardship. let's all face facts. Today, if you go to the bank to borrow money, what interest rate is how much? Talking about even price increase in fuel, NDC's tenor from beginning to the end is about 150%. Go and check. I'm not saying it's good, because the way they are talking is making me talk this way. But what I'm saying is that anybody that says face the country, there's nothing wrong with that. There's hardship. But boss, let's be very honest with ourselves and find out whether this time that we are in is a normal time. Even in Parliament, my brother knows, the Public Financial Administrative Act, 2016, Act 921, Section 18, state emphatically, without any ambiguity, that when there's a situation such as this, health pandemic or endemic, even our fiscal rules are suspended. South Africa today, leadership is big time considering slashing wages of public sector workers. Today, they are predicting their GDP to go down by over 7.something%. Their deficit getting to about 14.something%. These are the predictions. I'm not saying there's no hardship, but the hardship today, the reason is not necessarily government not doing its best. But it's a global thing that we need to accept. When they tell us to fix it, they are not wrong. But don't let us take it as if we are in normal time, things are okay, when we know there has been a country that at a point, productivity came to halt. Government was not even taking the revenues government was supposed to take. Government was spending more than its own projections. You think things can be so easily one day? Let's be honest with each other.
But we had also been told, Doc, we had also been told that we had what it took, that even if the country were in crisis for about 3 months, we had what it took to ensure that the country would be stable.
But is the country not stable?
That didn't show. I'm talking about stable? When we had to go under lockdown, you know, in terms of resources to ensure that even if we were not producing like expected. You're pointing to production and the viability. And I'm saying that.
When we were on lockdown, was the government not working?
My point is that we faced a lot of problems economically.
But you and I know we are facing problems because of the COVID-19 economy. I'm not, even without it, there would have been problems. Even US, UK, even without it, there were problems.
So for you, the point is that there are problems everywhere, so we shouldn't make a meal out of it.
Have I said that? Why are you saying something that I'm even emphasizing that if they make the point is right? These are the things you change it and somebody put on social media.
So make your point.
My point has been made, except that you don't want to accept.
Please don't.
What I'm saying is that it is true that there's hardship. Those who are making the statement, they are right. It's our responsibility to fix it, and I agree with them. Okay. But let us be honest with the government and this country and accept the fact that this thing has come up simply because of the COVID-19. It's a fact. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't fix it, and I agree with them. But even when we are talking about COVID-19 today, please, let's pick all the performance parameters that His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo inherited, from primary macro indicators through secondary macro indicators, social intervention policies, and all these, and compare. Let's pick all of them, one after the other. Even infrastructure people are talking about. Let's Nana Addo also finish his 8 years. And let's pick from education, health, water, and everything. The point is that there's huge deception in this country. People are being lied to, as if we don't go to church. As if there is no God in Ghana. That we think we can keep on deceiving people and lying all the time.
Who is doing the lying?
Those who are doing it, God will ask them. If I'm doing it, God will ask me. Including myself, MPP, NDC, CPP, media, whoever knows the truth and think can lie to Ghanaian because he thinks probably somebody might be gullible and say all sorts of things. The point is fix the country. It's not the first time people are saying it. It's our responsibility. It's enshrined in our constitution. Everybody's expecting that we fix the country. We are in government. There's a challenge, which I agree. There are problems, I agree. Those who are saying it, they are right. But let's analyze it in the right context. Let's be very honest. Before the COVID-19 came, what was the situation? Let's be very honest with ourselves. That when there's a disaster, when there are natural issues, when we have systemic issues as an outlier outside the system, what happens to us? And let's display this religious whatever and godliness, not only because we think it's fornication that is sin. People are just unnecessarily trying to get political capital out of it, and they are way into it. My position is that there's nothing wrong, and I don't think officially our government has come out against those who are saying fix it. Nana Addo has not spoken, Vice President has not spoken. party leadership, unless I don't know, has not spoken. Of course, you are having about 4 or 5 million people supporting MPP. You have people who play diverse roles within our value chain or critical activity path. Some of them have probably explained things in a way that it could be misconstrued, or they make mistake, which we all agree. You can't take it as the official position of the government. We are saying that we can fix it. Probably would have been worse. Under the NDC would have been worse.
Let's quickly do this.
There was no COVID. I'm ending with this. There hadn't been COVID. Before they left over power, what was our GDP growth? Before they left power, if you import things into this country, how much were you paying? It was how by about 50%. If you import cars, how much were we paying for electricity? How much were we paying for water? Let's be very honest with ourselves, because MPP and DC, we are all not perfect, but it is clear that at all times, MPP will do better than them.
Okay, so point well made there. I just have to correct myself, because initially I said the PRO of the MPA. It's actually Ghana Gas who was saying that if you're going shouting on the rooftops, fix the country, fix it, it's akin to drunken behavior.
But
let's put that aside, because you have made the point clear that it is not official.
Statement for the government.
That point
Thank
is
you
clear.
very much.
Let me ask you both a very quick question. How are you fixing your constituency in Shiaso? How are you fixing your constituency?
In Shiaso,
you say we need fixing.
Yes.
Your constituency. How are you fixing?
Before I came, before they gave me the mandate, my regards to them humbly, I told them what I was going to do. And I am fully on course. First thing, my responsibility is to champion the cause and contribute my quota on the floor in debating public issues, government issues, and private, which, by the grace of God, in Parliament, he's my senior. He knows as a first timer what I'm doing there. He knows, if you be honest. And I know what he's doing. I'm not disgracing my Two, I told them certain, because it's a developing economy, there are certain things I should be able to do for the constituency specifically. And my concentration is basically on Human Development Index. Because MP, you can never have money to do roads. Let's be factual. I said that one, I was going to set up education, a fund called ESAF, Education and Skill Acquisition Fund. And that I'll have 2 committees, Education Committee, Technical Skill Committee. There is insecurity in the area, too much. I'm being honest with you. In fact, the insecurity...
The entirety of Shiaso or certain pockets of Shiaso?
But yeah, within my constituency, because of that, I wouldn't name all, but big time insecurity. And I'm being honest with you. Seriously, robbery and stuff like that. I decided to set up security committee that work with the police and other. I've spoken to the police already. There is situation, there's an issue with sanitation. We are also setting up that. We are going to set up youth development.
Okay.
And now we are coming out with community bylaws. I don't know, because I've met a chief, assemblyman, we all want to have that. One, a child below 18 would never be allowed to do mybet.com. I've finished all the letters I'm sending to the companies.
Wow. You're banning betting within your jurisdiction?
Below 18, yes. If the child is below 18.
Right.
2,
of course, betting.
Alcoholism,
they should have a
alcoholic beverages and tobacco. If the child is below 18, in Shiaso will not allow. We will not accept at all times motorbikes not registered. So we are going to launch this committee. We are setting up central committee where we have big time lawyers. They are all happy doctors. We want to put them on so that we work collectively. If we have common fund, whether it's 1 CD or 2 CDs, chairpersons of the committees will come together, and then we outlay the funds based on the priority area, because we have a lot of issues.
Okay.
And at the same time, you know, by the grace of God, I'll push for government to do 1 or 2 there. But this is what I'm doing. I decided to set up an office called Shiaso Development Center Office that people will bring in problems.
Okay.
Those are now the office is about 90% completion.
Right.
I've taught all the schools, public schools in Shiaso. This week we are finishing water borehole. No, next week for one of them from our own pocket, because government hasn't released anything. I've sorted one of the schools with writing boards. One of the school, KG, was bad. I fixed it. So this is what I'm doing with the people.
Looks like you've been up to quite a lot. Yeah. And
because
I mean, for a first-time MP, that's to your credit. But let me find out from you. Ningo Prampram.
Yes, I would come there, but I'll just take 1 minute of my time to respond to a few things. You see, when we talk about fixing the country, it's not about the macroeconomic or microeconomic indicators. We don't go to the market with that. When Sticker was speaking, he said, "Oh, it can't be worse today than it was." Well, in 2017, January 7, when we handed over power, a bag of cement was 23 Ghana cedis. Today, as we speak,
there's something called inflation, right?
Yes, but inflation of over 100% in the space of 4 years or 5 years is mind-boggling. That the macroeconomic indicators he spoke about won't talk about. And you see, for me, I always don't just look at the price of an item. I look at your spending power. So I take a teacher's salary in 2016 and then say if a teacher at grade 2 was earning 1,200 cedis and a bag of cement was 25 cedis, how many bags of cement could his salary buy? And then you see his spending power. Today, that teacher's salary with all the increments is around 1,500 cedis. But a bag of cement is 50 cedis. How many bags will he buy? You realize that his spending power has actually dropped by about 60%. Okay. That is how you determine whether a person is better off or worse off. How much was an olunka of Gary? How much? Because you see, we're talking about accommodation and all of that. People want to start building their own houses. But if the cost of cement has almost doubled, that's a problem. Now, I said I was going to read a quote. We're in May. Today is 6th of May. 2021. On the 27th of May, just a minute, on the 27th of May 2009, I said to President Mills today, if you say the system is broke, fix it. Excuses can never be a substitute for vision and purposeful action and can never lead to the better Ghana we were promised. You know who said this? Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. He said, if the system is broke, fix it. So if we are telling him today to fix it, and his own appointees are telling us not to fix it, then that's a problem. Now,
but the point has been made that officially, government has not officially come out to say...
that is even a bigger problem.
We are against this.
That's a bigger problem. Fix the country has been running now for almost 7 days. And our president has not had the purpose of mind to speak to us and tell us, look, this is my plan towards fixing it, or this is what we're doing towards fixing it. The president thinks we are ranting. He's not going to mind us. He's paying us no heed. That in itself is a bigger problem. You understand me? So for me, a government that ought to listen, a government that ought to be responsive, should have responded to us by now. The president is able to, in less than 24 hours, send a condolence message to George Floyd's family and organize a funeral for them here. George Floyd is no Ghanaian.
Okay.
We are Ghanaians. We are complaining and asking our president to take action. He's not minding us.
Right.
Not even a single tweet. And you see, the reason why we are complaining, why Ghanaians are complaining, it has nothing to do with the fact that hardship, and look, I'll be a liar to say hardship started today. Hardship has been in Ghana since Kwame Nkrumah. But when we see our government not putting its money into building any of the 88 hospitals the president promised us, which the ordinary Ghanaian will benefit from, but this same president is putting taxpayers' money into the building of a cathedral. When we see that the president is not constructing the roads in our constituencies or giving us drinking water, or our lights are going off erratically without a schedule, yet you see this same president going to take our taxpayers' money to build an awards house for politicians to get awards. Why do we need a Ghana Awards house?
So
those are the problems that would annoy the Ghanaian people, because the government has its priorities wrong.
Okay, priorities are wrong. Now, the hashtag fix the country. The hashtag fix the country is actually trending at number 2. You had, Dr. Amwa, you had quite a bit of time to express your thoughts. But let me just make mention that. Right. So the point is that at least trending right now at number 2 is fix the country, Ghana, and it's been trending for quite a while now, just about a week. So you can see that definitely this is something that still has a bit of drive. But very quickly, how are you fixing your constituency?
Okay, first and
very quickly on that, we have to move.
I mean, first and foremost, it's important that we lay out what the parameters are. In my second term, one of the first things I've done, which is a continuation from my first term, is human capital development, because that is actually what your focus must be as a member of parliament. This year alone, we've continued with our MP's scholarship program. And so just in the past few months, when schools reopened, when the universities reopened, we've paid fees for over 40 students to go back, 40 new students. You know, in the first term, we've done about 167 of the students already. I've done 18 town hall meetings where I'm accounting to my people, because for me, I believe that accountability is key as a member of parliament. Like Sticker mentioned, there's been no releases from government, so you've not even gotten your first quarter of the common fund for you to say you are doing anything. However, we've had interventions in schools already, schools that were affected by a rainstorm. We've tried to fix them, healthcare issues, paying for surgeries, meeting out with young people. Then I have my livelihood empowerment program. Now, what we've done is we rolled out the National Apprenticeship Program in the NDC's manifesto. That program was a program that the government of John Mahama would have rolled out this year. So what we're doing is with the garment makers and the hairdressers associations, we're training 700 young people in hairdressing and garment making, because I'm not just focusing on regular education or what you call mainstream education. We're also looking at vocational skills training. So 350 people in hairdressing, 350 people in tailoring. Everybody gets a sewing machine to start with and train with. Everybody gets a hairdryer to start with and train with. And that's rolled out. On the issue of security, we have a program that's about to be rolled out, 1,500 street lights across the constituency to improve visibility at night, because when the area is dark, that's when you have a lot more. And then I've worked with the Minister for Roads in this short period to get some movement on the major problem that affects the people of Ningo Prampram, the road, for the traffic from Tema all the way to Dawenya. So you realize that just last week, the Minister for Roads himself was there. That contract had been signed in 2019. We're going to see actualization. Again, the Afenya-Dawenya road, just in the past week, the minister has asked the contractor who was on that site to move back to site and has commissioned him. The contractor has given me assurances that by end of this month, the Afenya-Dawenya road, he'll be back on that road. So these are some of the things that we're already working.
So both of you add to quite a lot in there. But very briefly, as we... Go ahead.
I think my brother made a statement which, of course, factually that was true. But I think we need to find out. Inflation as a whole today is far better than they left. They left about 15.4. Now it's hovering around, I think, 10 there, about having checked just this week. So factually, inflation today is better than they left. In spite of, but I want to give to the nation, because people are asking us prices of some of the commodities such as iron rods and coal he spoke about. I've gone to find out. What is happening now is that when ships, because that this factual what he said was true, when the ships get to Ghana, they are docked on the shore for 2 weeks because of the COVID protocols. When they go back to China and other places, between 3 and 6 weeks. So number of ships that come here or which come here are not doing so. Things that they charge $4,000 probably per a narrative or item. Now they are charging $10,000, $12,000. So these issues are beyond the government control. I just want to explain this. My brother can go and find, because I went to Tema. I was also worried. I'm into that business, building and doing those things. I wanted to find out. So some of these things, Ghanaians are right complaining because they are happening. But they should understand, or we should be able to let them understand that because of the COVID, these are global issues beyond even legal.
So the point is very firmly made on that angle. Gentlemen, I know both of you believe in accountability, responsibility, probity, unless you want to prove me otherwise. So on that very note, Sam, you were talking about that accountability. I'll pose the question to Dr. Amwa first. The events of January 7. We've had a lot of people talk about it. Recently, we had the first Deputy Speaker touch on it, and he says that all of what happened, well, we can't really hold parliamentarians to it because they had not been sworn in. You are legislators, you make laws for this country, and it was distasteful. He in fact referred to it as shameful conduct, what happened. What sort of example do you think that sets for ordinary Ghanaians, including the youth, very impressionable youth of the country?
Me?
Yes, you first.
Oh, okay. You're still going back to 7 January?
Well, it's because it's been in the news. It's only recently that the first Deputy Speaker spoke about it.
But I think on this platform, this same platform here, personally I apologized. That is the role that I played, because I think no matter what, the alternative was unacceptable. However, people should also see how committed both parties were to ensuring that what they want to come to being for their people, they were. What we did was not right. But look at how, you think it left with Nimo Pram alone, Sam George, who put up that behavior? I'm not saying he did. I think I did worse than him, and be honest. What I did was wrong. Somebody pushed me, and I had to also push back. We were all quite upset, which was wrong. But what I'm saying, I think if it is only Inshesu alone and myself alone, my interest alone, I'll go and push. No. It is an illustrative or indicative of the fact that modern day parliamentarians are so much committed to ensuring that what they mean for their nation on their part, their principles, what they believe in within the framework of their fraternities. They are committing every energy to it. We were so serious. So people should also take that motivation. However, we had a wrong alternative because there are many alternatives getting to whatever you want to achieve. And what happened to me was very unfortunate.
So just to
we just want to tell people coming that it's not going to happen again.
It's not going to happen again.
Yes, it's not going to happen again. Me personally, I don't think I will engage. But you see other jurisdictions. I'm not trying to justify it. They do even worse.
Okay.
But the fact that they do worse doesn't mean we are right.
Sam,
and to me, all that
you make laws, and what happened that day? I mean, if an ordinary citizen were to do that, it wouldn't be pardoned. What do you think? Should something be happening? Should there be some punitive measures? What do you think?
To us?
Something not punitive in terms of not. And I made mention of this that obviously you wouldn't want to say that because of this we're going to incarcerate anybody. But shouldn't there be some action of the House to say, look, we're doing this to show that we're sorry?
You see, if you want to, let me start off by saying that we all agree that there were better routes to achieving whatever goal any of us had, any of the two sides had on the 9th of the 6th and the 7th, to what played out that day. What played out that day, I've had occasion to sit back and watch several times. And they're not videos I want to show my 5-year-old son of me. So, I mean, I admit that we did cross a certain line and it was most unfortunate. But it lets you see how human MPs are as well and how passionate we can get. But people must understand, and that's the point that I thought the first Deputy Speaker tried to make, you have had very heated issues in Parliament post the 9th of the 6th and 7th, but they haven't gotten there. You know why? Now there's a speaker sitting in the chair. Leadership. It's about leadership. That day, there was no speaker in the chair. It was just the clerk. And MPs don't answer to the clerk. The clerk cannot call any MP to order. Okay, so in every group, in every setting, you need to see some form of leadership. And that's what the speaker brings. I mean, one of the days, I remember, just before the end of the meeting, we had a very heated debate. I mean, we're all up on our feet, and all the speaker did was to rise from his chair and stand, not say a word, just rise. And that is a huge parliamentary action. When the speaker stands and holds the gavel and doesn't speak, immediately, without a word, without any sign, the whole chamber just went dead. That's the power of leadership. That's what leadership can do. And so when you have the right leadership, it would carry us along. But I keep saying to people that, look, don't get carried away and don't get swayed by the optics you see in the plenary. Because the plenary is about 10% of Parliament. The real work of Parliament, the real business of Parliament goes on in the committees. And in those committees, there's hardly any partisanship. There's hardly any NDC or NPP. We put the country in the driving seat and work towards working for the country. So, yeah, I mean, it's regrettable. It's happened. We cannot apologize enough. But you can't unwrite and you can't go back to the 9th of the 6th and the 7th. It's happened and it's happened. Let's move on. And I believe that this Parliament stands on the threshold of achieving great things for our country.
This Parliament stands on the threshold of achieving great things for this country. It's interesting. The 7th Parliament has been given a lot of glowing praise and all of that. Let's see what the 8th Parliament will come through with. Maybe not a very good start, but you don't judge a book by its cover.
Maybe the glowing praise is because Sam George is part of the 7th Parliament and part of the 8th Parliament as well.
You've made mention of leadership.
Yes.
And here's one portion where in the fight against illegal mining, we have come to the point where leadership is actively outlining plans, what ought to be done to ensure that our water bodies, our land resources are protected. I'll come to you first. So far, the fight against Galamsey, the military, now the police, 200 of them, some people busted, about 65 of them, some said to be alleged to be national security operatives, about 19 of them. How far do you feel we've come? What are the highlights for you?
Thank you very much. I think in the first place, I would like to commend the president of the land, because everybody knows that one of the areas in our country that you try to fight, you risk losing your seat is Galamsey. We all know it's been It's been there before I was born. And I'm sure some too. And it's still there. It hasn't been solved. But at least for somebody, a leader to say that, okay, I have the political will. Even if I'll lose my election, I'll still fight it. We need to. However, Galamsey hasn't stopped. It hasn't. Where it's getting to, I want to say that every stakeholder, every Ghanaian who has any boundary factor, relationship or connection or correlation to this whole antisocial behavior, I'm begging the person, we are just begging them. It is not in the interest of anyone now and tomorrow. All our water bodies are going very bad. The fish we eat, now we're having mercury in them. Our cocoa, very soon, now Chinese, they've started producing cocoa. So we are destroying our own future. And the president can task everyone to go there. If we don't from our heart, out of intrinsic motivational factors, accept the fact that this thing is destroying us. So all of us are doing our best possible, our utmost best, to curb this issue in our country. We are doing ourselves not any good because it is still a problem. Look at our water bodies. They are still there. The problem is that when a body is set to go into the areas where they are operating, what happens there? Along the banks of Pra, in the bush, the president is not there. What do they do? Do some of them take bribe or they don't? The fact is, if the president even decides to put in everything and the teams that are set to go there, and some of them, I'm sure, are the very people that have been tasked to go there and make sure the problem is solved. I'm sure some of them get involved.
Like we're seeing now with some alleged members of national security.
And some get involved. I wouldn't even be surprised if some of our own party people are involved. And this time, let's all be honest, it's destroying us. I think the president is doing well. He has to do better. And this time...
The president is doing well. He has to do
better. Yes. Better means that we need to commit more of our resources into those areas, redefine our operational strategies and other things. Because, boss, it's going on. I'm from Ashanti region. It is going on. And who are doing it? Who are involved? I don't think it's only the national security operatives. Some of them are doing that. I don't think it's only the police. I think you have MPP people in it, NDC people in it. I think you have some DCs will be involved. I think even some chiefs are involved. So it's like a problem that we need to do our best and solve. This is not about MPP, NDC's problem. Galamsey is still going on. It's destroying us. It is not stopped.
Elder George, and I'm just playing on the word. Are we on course to, rid ourselves of illegal mining as far as is possible?
I wish I could say so. And you see, I get very passionate when I talk about Galamsey issues because I think the president has failed. And this is not politics. This is about leadership. I spoke about leadership. Leadership must act. When it goes well, leadership gets the credit. When it doesn't go well, we must hold leadership accountable. Who are these? Sticker talks about DCs. Who may be?
The political will.
Who may be? Who appointed these DCs?
Honorable, just 1 minute. You allow me. I think if you say the president has failed, I will not debate you. But at least from 92 up to now, we have not had a president who publicly declared that I will put my presidency on that. That will alone, you need to give him praise.
Okay, I'll come to that. Let's be clear in our minds. The fight against Galamsey was not President Akufo-Addo's initiative. It was a media initiative. It was a media campaign that came to Parliament, the 7th Parliament, got signatures, got the then Speaker to sign on. It was that media momentum led by Ken Ashigbe and co. that led us, that compelled government to get involved and set up Galam Stop and Operation Vanguard or whatever. That was set up. You understand me? Now, I keep saying that, look, our president has done well with giving us sound bites. The president's fight against Galamsey has been a soundbite one. I put my presidency on the line. Did he put his presidency on the line?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Look, and me, I say it as I say. The DCs who are doing Galamsey or who are supporting and enhancing Galamsey are appointees of the president. Mr. President, if you were serious about fighting Galamsey, you will fire them, because the power to fire them rests only in the president's hands. It is their position as DCs that allows them to perpetrate that crime. Mr. President, your party national executives and regional executives are engaged in Galamsey.
Oh, how?
Deal with them.
Do you have any proof?
Yes.
Oh,
deal with them.
Where is your proof, though? Hold on, Doc. Where is your proof?
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. We saw the video. We saw the leaked video from the Minister of Environment, then Minister of Environment's office, with the then Vice Chairman of the NPP in the Central Region.
But there were denials in that respect.
Denial of what?
You are saying national executives.
Denial of what?
It wasn't the picture that was being painted when it comes to all these excavators.
We don't need anybody's explanation. We listened to the tape. We heard the video. When he said party here, Sika, what was that?
And you can confirm that it was the voices of these individuals.
Eko Owusie has not denied that it is his voice. You understand me? Charles Bisu was a presidential staffer and at the time Western Regional Secretary of the NPP. We saw a tape, Manasseh Azuri Awuni, where Manasseh went to him, offered money to get opportunity to go and do illegal small-scale mining. He accepted it.
So the national executive.
So what are we talking about?
Which one of them is national?
We know instances that led issues that led to people even sitting MPs even losing their seats, and the roles that national executives play, all because of Galamsey. Look, if there is any NDC person involved in Galamsey, it is the more reason why President Akufo-Addo has failed. Because I expect him. So in effect, you're not denying that there could be NDC people involved, or that even in previous administrations there have been NDC people involved. You're merely saying that if they are and he's not getting them, he's failing. Yes, anybody who does Galamsey, whether you are NDC or MPP, you're a murderer. Sure. You're a murderer. You're a killer. Sure. Because look, my children and your children will not have potable water to drink. Today you are even getting trouble getting water in your pipes because of Galamsey. So I don't care the person's political party. If the person is NDC, if the person is a national executive of the NDC and he's doing Galamsey, arrest him and jail him. Sure. And I believe that for the first time, we should actually have the firing squad come brought back. Because look,
let's try questioning on that.
No, it is still on our statute books. Chief.
Yes.
The people who
it still is there, but for decades it's not been used.
Yes, but on this one, because listen, Chief, you haven't flown over the land to see the devastation to our land, to see the devastation to our water bodies. If you have, you would understand the pain with which I speak. Because look, I sit here and I'm asking myself, by 2030, today, we are importing everything. Now 2030 is just 8 years away. We are going to have to start importing water. Water, we will import it in Ghana. Because some people think they should be filthy rich.
And the head of the Ghana Water Company has been cautioning us.
And that is why I'm saying that the president must act. There's backstop to him. Look, the Chinese who come in here. The Chinese ambassador insulted all of us as a country. And I clap for him for insulting us.
He said,
I clap for him for insulting us.
He was merely saying that the Chinese don't know where to go.
Absolutely.
If we ourselves, the chiefs and others do
the Chinese cannot even enter Ghana without a visa from a Ghanaian official. What due diligence do you do before you grant that visa to that Chinese?
You know. That one day.
No.
That one you know.
How do they enter Ghana?
But
look, are you aware that Ghana is the country with the second highest population of Chinese on the African continent? Over 700,000 Chinese are residents in Ghana. What are they doing in Ghana? And how did they get into this country? How do the excavators, look, excavators are not small machines.
They are not.
How do people import excavators and come into this country? How is it that national security, look, you know why I get angry and passionate about this? We saw your own your own network, multimedia, Adum, go with a security team into the bush. When you got there, you saw soldiers of the Ghana army with their uniforms. You saw their uniforms there. When you saw their uniforms there, a soldier came there, made a call to a commanding officer who is still serving in the Ghana Armed Forces, who is paid with our taxes.
But you know the commanding officer. You don't know.
No, but that is why I'm saying that the soldier who came, his name is known. The uniforms that they were wearing, their names are known. By now, has the president, who is the commander-in-chief, called the chief of army staff to demand the identity of those soldiers? We saw the soldiers who came on video.
Right.
Thanks to Erastus Donko, even though they tried to destroy the video, you still managed to get some footage of them. What has happened to those soldiers?
So what
has happened to those people?
Definitely.
To protect us. We must see action being taken.
Sam.
But if the Major Muhammad died in vain, and people will continue to die in vain, and we are sitting down because Galamsey, someone wants to make money, quick money.
So obviously there are a lot of questions to ask, but as Dr. Amwa has also made mention of, there has been the commitment that has been shown. We're on that trajectory. You say it has failed so far. Let's see what this will generate this time round. But to wrap up the conversation, gentlemen, again, something that a lot of people have been talking about, the Wesley Girls
but I think it is proven that no MPP national executive, as of now, is actually shown or illustrated that is involved in Ghana.
Thank you for adding that.
Thank you.
It's a very simple issue, but it's also convoluted in many ways. I want to fast. You are not allowed to fast. School rules. MPs, the Muslim caucus in Parliament has waded into the conversation. We've had the Methodist Church react and back up the school. There's been talk about the fact that if you want to fast, then parents should sign up for this, and if anything happens to your child, we wouldn't have a hand in it. Okay, sure. How do you feel we address this? Policy? Should the schools do their own thing? Where does it end? Gentlemen, I'll give you a minute and a half each on this one. You see, I'll start with you. Let me start with you. You were speaking. You were on the floor right before, so let me give you the first mic.
I think this is a very serious and very controversial issue. I remember when we were in secondary schools. I was with the SU then, and we were doing periodical fasting. What we were doing was, you ask somebody to take your food for you. You keep it. When you break the fast, you eat. You understand what I'm saying? But we're not doing it officially. Because that time, it was even wrong for you not to go to the dining hall and eat.
Right.
That was the school policy. I went to Pukwari. And then I went to Ahmadiyya, sixth form. And Ahmadiyya, even when the Muslims were fasting, you know that's a Muslim school. We were still going to the dining hall. You had to come. Maybe because you are fasting, you take your food, you keep it. That one, nobody cares how you go about it. Where this one is heading towards, we shouldn't heap scorn on the potential of this to bring something very serious in this country.
Which is what?
Hey, if Muslims and Christians get into this chaotic situation, my boss, are you sure any government or any leader can manage? No. So I would propose that as a matter of urgency, with all seriousness on the part of the government, the Methodist or the Christian body, the Muslim or Islam body, and then the school, they should set up this committee, stakeholder engagement committee, and quickly look into it and make sure that all parties involved can redefine a point of convergence where they will agree to certain principles. Then we can move forward. We shouldn't say that, oh, it's not our issue. It's between say Wesley Girls and then maybe the Muslims, even the Muslims, not all of them, or between the Muslims and the Christians. I beg this country, national security, whoever has what it takes as a jurisdiction, to come on board, and as a matter of, I beg them quickly, they should resolve this.
Okay.
Because I don't want this trend to go on.
Point well made there. There's been talk about this bit too, that in some Islamic schools, sometimes Christians are made to, observe some of the Muslim practices and all that. You say you were in TI Ahmadiyya. Did that ever happen to you?
No, when I was there, it wasn't like that. When I was there, we had our freedom. It wasn't like that.
Your take on this matter?
It's a matter that really isn't a matter, but it's also a very serious matter. That's how complex it is. Because my understanding of this matter from Wesley Girls, and I've spoken to someone who's very versed with the issues, is that this decision was not just taken today. It's been a long-standing decision of Wesley Girls not to allow students fast, including Christians. Because they said they had an instance where children who were fasting were collapsing in the school. And so the board, over 10 years ago, took this decision. However, it's become topical today. I think that, again, comes down to leadership. The education ministry, before it issued its directive to the school, should have engaged with the Methodist Church.
Okay.
The lack of consultation with the Methodist Church and that blanket instruction from the education ministry through the GES is what has gotten the Methodist Church to react in this way and say, we are calling your bluff. If everybody had been, because when the Muslim caucus in Parliament met with the Methodist Church, there appeared to have been a certain common ground that was being found. Then the ministry just issues that statement, and that's where the problem is. Look, let's call a spade a spade. We need to cherish the political and religious tolerance that we have in this country. Let's not play with it. I believe that it is It is an issue that we must all uphold, and I have been consistent on this. If you remember, when the Rastafarian issue happened with Achimota School, on the floor of the House, I contributed to a statement and said, look, allow the students to enjoy their rights, because the reason that the Rastafarians were asking for was not a lifestyle reason, it was a religious reason. You see, people at that time didn't understand it. Today, it's moved to Islam. Tomorrow it will turn to Christianity. We're in an Ahmadiyya school, because you see, in every religion, you've got the fanatics on the extremes. And if we shouldn't allow
that is what
those,
we don't want.
That's what we don't want.
Yeah.
So those of us who are moderate, and those of us who are able to accommodate each other, must find a way to resolve this impasse very quietly and in the interest of the country.
Gentlemen, first of all, thank you so much for abiding by the rules on the show. By and large, it's been a very smooth discussion. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Elder. I want to sort it out on that level.
Elder?
Oh, church elder. Paris Chapel.
Which church?
Paris Chapel.
Oh, no wonder.
Hey, what do you mean by no wonder?
No, because Sam and I, all the time, I've been thinking, sometimes I say he even gets angry that which church does he go? He doesn't want to tell me.
This your no wonder, Dr. Amwa. Anyway, Dr. Stephen, I'm a member of Parliament for Inshaeso, and of course, Sam, George
years.
as well.
I've been a church member of CCC Kumasi from my childhood.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Sam George, member of Parliament for Ningo Papa. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for your time. But from here, we cross over, and it's all about the National Science and Math Quiz. Manuel Karanting is on the beat. He's in the Upper East region, Bolgatanga to be specific. Manuel, so what is the latest in terms of the National Science and Math Quiz competition up north?
Also, Ben, good morning to you and good morning to our viewers also. It's intriguing, really a great morning here in the Upper East region. Well, the past couple of days we've been, lodging in the Upper West region, specifically in Wa, trying to, as it were, sample and sieve the boys from the men in terms of the schools that are going to represent the region in the National Science and Maths Quiz. Of course, the national tournament slated for later in October this year. Well, that is done. We've moved from the Upper West region and we are currently in the Upper East region. What we're going to do this morning is to just give you, a sneak peek into what exactly happened in the Upper West region and a bit of, some projections into the Upper East regional tournament also. And Mr. Stephen Yankee is a program coordinator with the with Primetime, of course, organizers of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Grateful that you could join us this morning. How does it feel? I mean, we've been traveling from Accra all the way up north. It's been stressful, right?
Well, it has been, but it's also been fulfilling as we fulfill our mandate of promoting science and math education in the senior high school. So we feel that we are achieving our objectives, and so far we are happy with the turnout that we've seen with regards to the senior high schools and also the performances that they displayed in the Upper West region. I think judging by that, it just goes to show that we are in for very exciting contests across the country, especially in this northern zone.
We want to cut to a chase and then talk about the specifics. Well, there were just 5 slots for the region. Is it the same for all the regions, 5 slots for all the regions?
No, the Upper West region has the least number of senior high schools nationwide. And when we started this format of the National Science and Maths Quiz sponsored by the GES came up with some quota system, so that based on the number of senior high schools in each region, we select a certain number to make up the 135 schools at the national level. So because Upper West has the least number, they have 5 senior high schools, they contribute to the national quota. And you have a region like Ashanti, which has the highest number of senior high schools, contributing 26 schools. So it is based on the number of senior high schools. That is where this ratio works out.
But even with the 5 slots, it was really competitive. Talk to me about the stages that we went through to get to these 5 schools, and which schools exactly are these?
So, in the Upper West and Upper East regions, what we try to do is to do a 2-stage qualification process, because this would ensure that the best of the best will get to represent these 2 regions. So what we did in Upper West for the first time this year was that instead of just organizing 5 straight contests where the winners will qualify for the national championship, we started with 7 contests. So those 7 winners then progressed to a second stage, where out of the 7, 3 of the schools were in one contest and then 4 in another contest. The winners of those 2 contests qualified, and then we ranked the scores of the 5 schools that lost those 2 contests, and the top 3 made it out of that to also qualify to represent the Upper West region. And we saw some very, very exciting performances. I can mention the St. Francis Xavier Junior Seminary. Judging from what we saw this year, you could see that this team is being prepared for exploit at the national championship. The team hasn't been so good at the national championship since 2014 when they were at the final where they lost to Infantsipim School. And looking at what we've seen this time, even at the first stage and at the second stage, they were consistent in their performance. I was only disappointed a little bit in St. Francis of Assisi.
The girls' school, which actually was the talk of the day in the first day, right?
Yes, and you remember in our conversation I mentioned that usually what we see is that at the first stage of qualification, some schools do very well, but in the second leg, at the second level, that is where sometimes they drop some points, and that is what we saw with St. Francis girls. I was expecting that they would still maintain their 50s, but unfortunately they struggled to even make something within the 20s. But I think they have time between now and October to put their acts together. It's a very solid team. I'm sure they can do something in Accra.
Okay, so in all from the Upper West region, we had what? St. Francis Xavier, St. Francis of Assisi Girls' School, and then which other schools?
And we have Canton Senior High, we have Wa Senior High School, who really jubilated when they qualified. So St. Francis Xavier, St. Francis of Assisi, Canton Senior High, we have Wa Senior High School, and then we have Jirapa Senior High School.
So these 5 schools are going to represent the region in the national tournament. We'll talk about Bolga very shortly, for the Upper East region. But I'm learning of another zonal tournaments that you're organizing. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, so last year we got some support from Absa Bank. So Absa Bank is sponsoring the regional and zonal championships across the country this time. Yesterday, the Greater Accra Regional Championship started, also sponsored by Absa Bank. The final is this morning. And for the first time, we are organizing a similar championship for the schools within the Northern Zone. You know, as I mentioned earlier, Upper West only has 5 schools. So if you should organize a championship for those schools in Upper West, it would just be a contest, and that wouldn't be as competitive. So what we are doing is that we are going to bring together 20 schools, and these 20 schools are made up of the 5 schools qualifying from Upper West, 6 coming from Upper East, 6 from Northern, 1 from Savannah, 1 from the Northeast region, and then the seeded school from the Northern region, that is Northern School of Business, making a total of 20 schools that will be competing in the Northern Zonal Championship starting on the 12th of May next week. We are having that championship in Tamale.
There's a whole lot up for grabs, but even with the regional championship, what we give people 1,000, 5,000 cedis?
Yes, so with the regional qualifiers, just for qualifying as a qualification bonus, you know, even our footballers get a winning
appearance fee.
Exactly. So just for winning, if you win with scores that are higher than 40, we offer the team 1,500 cedis. That's just a token. You know, the grand prize are in Accra. We want them to aim high. But just for qualifying with 40 points or more, we offer them 1,500 cedis as a team. If your scores are less than 40, then we offer you 1,000 Ghana cedis. But for the Absa Bank Zonal Championship in the Northern Zone, the winning prize is 4,000 Ghana cedis to the team, 3,000 to the second place team, 2,000 to the third place team, and 1,000 cedis to the fourth place team.
See, I only wish that I was a competitor in there, so I was contestant in there to get some of these 1,500. But let's talk about the Upper East region. Upper East region now, which schools should we be looking out for? I mean, what are the contests anyways?
Well, so for the first time in about 4 years, the Upper East region has a seeded school, that's Navrongo Senior High School. Last year, they were on top form. They made it to the quarterfinal stage, so they skipped the regional qualifiers. But when we start tomorrow morning, the first contest features Sandema Senior High Technical School. I'm sure people remember Sandema from when they also got to the quarterfinals a couple of years ago. They haven't made it back there in a long while, and they are hoping that this year could be a different story for them. Sandema Senior High Technical School will be up against Zoko Senior High School, Fumbisi Senior High School, and Boko Senior High School. In our second contest, we'll have Notre Dame Senior High School, Our Lady of Lourdes Girls Senior High School, and Sandema SHS. In our third contest, we have Gori SHTS, Timpani SHS, Chana SHS, and Zebila Senior High Technical School. And the last for the day will feature Zamse Senior High Technical School, Nabango SHTS, Bion SHTS, and Bolgatanga Technical Institute.
I see. And that's for tomorrow, the first day. There's another set of contests on Saturday. That's the second day. But I mean, with these schools, there are a lot to look out for because, for instance, in WA, the WA Senior High School, we're learning that it has not been to the tournament, a national tournament, in 20 years. It was a whole jamboree on campus. You know, after they won. They won with 17 points.
Yes. I mean, so that goes to show how important the National Science and Maths Quiz is to these schools. It's a big achievement to qualify. You know, we have about 480 schools competing this year for 108 slots. So to be part of that little group, that's a feat that they need to celebrate. I felt that celebrating a win with 17 points is a little too much, but maybe they can put their teams together and we can see how they will present maybe a formidable side sometime in October during the national championship.
Do you have any tips? You know, do you have any schools that you are tipping from the Upper East region?
From the Upper East region, well, there are schools that always qualify year in, year out. Sandema Senior High Technical School, they qualify every year. Bolgatanga Senior High School, they qualify every year. Notre Dame hasn't been too strong in the last couple of years. Zamse was there last year, and a host of others. Bolgatanga Girls also, very good girls school over here in the Upper East region. I think that they can all do their best, but I mean, if you look at the National Science and Maths Quiz, every year has its own dynamics. It's not just the name of the school. If it took just the name, Infantsmen wouldn't be at the regionals.
Akraka would have been, you know, Akraka would have been like defending
your school.
A very good morning to all will be out there.
So, you know, some of these schools that perhaps may not be well known could also have put a lot into their preparation, and this could be the year that they would also break out and launch, put their school's name out there as a force to reckon with when it comes to the quiz.
Grateful. That's Stephen Yankee. He's a program coordinator with Primetime, organizers of the National Science and Maths Quiz, just talking to me about the past couple of days, regional championship organized in the Upper West region and the one that's just about to go down in the Upper East region. Really all the prospects and what you're to be expecting. We'll be here live on the JoyNews channel with all the updates. Well, I learned quite unfortunately that Accra Academy suffered a defeat at the hands of Chimu SHS yesterday. But of course, what does a man gain by winning the regional championship and get slain at the national tournament by Accra Academy? We're looking forward to that. But Ben, if you can hear me from here in the Upper East region, Bolga specifically, handing over back to you in the studio.
Well, Manuel Karanting there. Manuel, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on the latest, and we look forward to much more from your end. When you come back, we'll talk schools. Accra, I saw my kakra, but how we could do them. From there, we talk about owning a home. I'm sure it's something you've contemplated, many people do. But how do you go about it? We're joined by Waylead Properties as they offer us those juicy packages. Joining us for the conversation, Emmanuel Nyako is a consultant with Waylead Properties. So is Sefin Siao, a consultant as well with Waylead Properties Ghana. Gentlemen, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Yima, let me start with you. What has 2021 been like? Some say the real estate industry is booming. In fact, you've taken over from ICT in terms of, you know, your output. What has it been like in the year 2021, this quarter?
You know, it's very true. All across the globe, people are looking for shelter, people are looking for where to put their head, people are looking for offices and other stuff. That's what we in the industry are providing. And we at Waylead is doing exactly that. 2021 hasn't been bad. In the midst of COVID and everything, people are still looking for where to lay their head. And if they are looking for where to lay their head, then nowhere than Waylead. We are providing them quality, affordable houses in a prime location. So we have this threat. We are providing you with quality, affordability, and in a prime location. So we are at Sakomono, where you can move 20 minutes to the Central Business District, 10 minutes to the Tema Harbour. So we are in between Tema and Accra. And that when we talk about our project, we have 2 projects currently ongoing. The Le Jardin Symphonique, which is townhouses, 3, 4, and 5-bedroom houses, about 57 units. We have only 70 units available now. So that project is almost done. So if you need one of our 3-bedroom, 4 and 5-bedroom townhouses at Sakomono, then you have to be fast and get one for yourself. Our apartment 2 is ongoing, the Alphabet City, which is 2 and 3-bedroom apartment. The 3D design is showing at our back, and that one too, we are seriously on it. And that the first block is gone. We are doing about 20 blocks, and we are still on it. We are expecting our forest homeowners to move in by August.
Okay, so quite some developments, and you stand out for quality, affordability. What was the last one you mentioned?
And then the best location.
The best location as well. For you, also a property consultant, I mean, 2021, you've made quite a bit of progress. Tell us about your latest projects, your latest developments.
Okay, so like just like my brother said, we have the Le Jardin Symphonique. Those are townhouses.
Lovely, catchy name by the way. I mean, going off French, Le Jardin Symphonique.
Yeah, Le Jardin Symphonique. Okay. And those are, townhouses, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, and 5 bedrooms. We at Waylead, we have designed our properties such that even if you want a 3-bedroom to be converted into a 4-bedroom, we can easily do that, and we do that without any cost. So the thing is that we are giving you a 4-bedroom for the price of a 3-bedroom. How good is that? Where are you going to get that? That aside, we are also doing the Alphabet City. It doesn't matter the number of size of your family. We have 2 bedrooms, we have 3 bedrooms, we have 4 bedrooms, we have 5 bedrooms. So wherever you are in this country, outside Ghana, if you are looking at a place, you want to buy a property in this country, there is nowhere to look than calling on us, Waylead Ghana Property.
I guess all roads lead to us, to Waylead.
Exactly.
Okay, but tell us a bit about your property. So do you have 2-bedroom?
Yeah.
You have 3-bedroom.
You
have convertible to 4-bedroom.
Exactly.
Right.
We have the 2 and 3 bedrooms. We have for the apartments, and then for the townhouses. The townhouses are detached houses, self-compound. But for the apartment, it's a 6-story building with elevator. In there, and as my brother said, we are building 20 blocks of that. The first, second, third blocks are ready. Actually, the first block is sold out. We have only about 2 or 3 rooms remaining in there. And the second, third blocks, we've sold 20%, 30% respectively. 2 bedrooms in the second, and then the third block, and then 2, 3 bedrooms in the first block. Wherever you are, looking at us, watching us now, you want a property to buy, look nowhere else. Call on us, Waylead.
All roads lead to Waylead.
And for our apartment, for example, we are not just building apartments for you to go and live in, then we just leave you. It's a 6-story apartment, 4 units on each floor, and it comes with elevator, estate management, and it's gated. So it's a gated apartment. So you have somebody to take care of your electricity when the lights go off. We have a standby plant for you. We have elevator. We have people to clean the common areas and maintain the common areas. So we are not building an apartment and leave it to rot. We are building an apartment and we are going to manage also, as we've done with all our previous projects. We started Mary at East Airport. That's 100% done. We are managing. Le Jardin Symphonique at Sakomono. We have homeowners in there and we are managing. Okay. So when you buy a property from us, you get property appreciation because we sell you a house and we manage the house also for you.
So I also want to add that we are not just selling the houses to you. We are also considering the amenities in the community. We have soccer pitch, and there is a tennis court, there is a basketball court, there is also going to be a swimming pool. And we are also adding a police station so that all our clients in the Alphabet City, they know that where they are living, their lives are secure.
So it's fully loaded. But now that you're talking of security, police station, and all of that, how about a health post? Are there plans for a health post? Is there any such plan in there? Because health is also
okay. So where we are situated now, we have the best hospitals, the best schools around. Yeah. So we have the City of Hope Hospital. Okay. We have Sakumono Community Hospital, all within the enclave. So that's not a problem. But even that, we are still looking at putting a clinic and a pharmacy in the community. Exactly. So that is part of our plan coming up. And then we are also looking at other facilities that will make living in our estate comfortable for you.
Okay, so very interesting bits in there. Let's know a bit more about how people can reach out to you, especially if they want to make any purchases or all that, and online as well. Maybe you can start with that.
All right. So our contact numbers are 0240 11 11 19, 0240 11 11 19. This number is on WhatsApp. You can WhatsApp us if you call and then it's busy. You can WhatsApp us and then our sales executives will attend to you. So I'll go over the number again: 0240 11 11 19. It's on the screen. Beside that, you can also reach us on our social media platforms. We lead Ghana at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We lead GH. And one good thing, we are coming up with a promo starting 15th of this month. That every day we are going to ask questions about Ghana on our Facebook and Instagram and then our Twitter pages. Yeah. If you get it correct, you can get cash rewards, souvenirs from us, and a whole lot of things.
Shizy.
We are the ultimate prize. We are looking at giving people a weekend stay in our community for them to feel how our community look like. So everybody should just go to our social media pages: Willie Ghana at Facebook, Instagram Willie GH, Twitter Willie GH, and then and then we have a lot of good things coming up there for our viewers.
So as you can see on your screen, you can actually get in touch with them by calling that number 0240 11 11 19. Package na 0240 11 11 19. But I just wanted to ask this finally before you let go of us. Your property, so do people have options when it comes to furnishing? If they would like it furnished, if they would like to do their own furnishing, what does it look like within the property itself?
Yeah, so for the townhouses, we partly furnished it. That is your kitchen, it comes fitted, your cabinets and everything will be in place. We are also providing you a 5-stove burner and a heat extractor. That aside, for all the bedrooms, we are giving you air conditions and remote controlled fans in all the bedrooms.
Okay.
Yeah. That aside, if you want us to also take care of your furnitures and all that, we are open and we are ready to do that for yeah.
So like I said, it's fully loaded. But Emmanuel, I know you have some birthday wishes. So whom would you like to shout this morning?
Two of my good brothers are celebrating their birthday now. Raymond, Richard Megro, the CEO of Goldbridge Shelters, and then Hot Poxy. He does some good pork and kinky. So he told me that he will sort you out tomorrow. And then, so Richard, happy birthday. And then to my brother, Frederick Terrier, he is at Odoko Divisional Police Command, CID, one of the best police guys that we have in town. So, Mr. Terrier, happy birthday. May God grant you all your heart wishes.
Well, that's how we wrap it up. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Well, but let's continue on that celebratory note. A very happy birthday to Irabna Helen. God bless you and increase you. That's Irabna right there from Yaufosin and Irama Aqua. More birthday wishes to Rosa Susan Bosomche of Anglo Gold Ashanti Basic School in Obuasi. She is 7 years today, and that's from your mother, Alberta Godwin of Anglo Gold Ashanti Malaria Control. Okay, so your brother, Emmanuel Sam Bosomche, and sister, Esther Bosomche, all of Anglo Gold Ashanti Basic School. To all of you, a very happy birthday. So that's how we wrap the conversation, gentlemen. Emmanuel and Sefin, thank you so much for coming through and continue leading the way when it comes to real estate. We take a bit of a breather here. We'll be right back. Stay with us on the AM show. Well, it's always exciting to come your way. It's been another exciting edition of the AM show. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us this morning. We'll be bringing you more on that development, though, that accident on the Accra-Tema stretch. Do go to myjoyonline.com. We have stories there. But to all of you who did the watching, the listening this morning, we say thank you very much. It's a wrap. Let's do Friday's edition tomorrow. Have a lovely day.